Okay, we're here today for Community Design Review Committee, Tuesday, June 14th via Zoom, 11 o'clock. The first applicant is Congregation of Ridnick, 22 Rustic Drive for a residential house of worship with the planimetric plan. And I believe for the applicant, we have Mordecai Mendelitz and Paul Gdansky on. I'm not sure if
Yes.
Rabbi Berger's on.
I don't know if the rabbi was going to be able to make it.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
So basically,
The
we
rabbi
went.
knows to,
What's that?
the rabbi's going to join in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you very much.
So we went through all the comments and the previous comments that Eve had made previously, and we addressed all the comments on the plan that you currently have before you.
Okay.
John, were you able to verify that what we just heard is accurate?
Well, we did get a new submittal and we did a review and submitted June 8th review comments.
Saying
So-
comparing it to Eve's previous comments, whether they were addressed.
Yeah, I think some of them were addressed. We still have some additional concerns. I don't know if you want me to go through the comments. I guess I could run through them quickly while we have time here. So on comment 1, there are a number of variances that are required for this application in the bulk table. I think it refers to 4 of them that need to be secured from the Zoning Board of Appeals. So my understanding is they have to go to Planning Board before they can go to the ZBA. So I don't know if it's premature to send them, or whether we can send them with the understanding that they have to secure a referral from the Planning Board to get to the ZBA. Comment 2, I'm just asking for infiltration testing. There is a design for sizing the infiltration basins that are provided, but I believe it's just based on an assumed percolation rate. So we're just asking to provide an infiltration test.
Yeah, we have no problem with that.
Okay, so there is a question on the existing water and sewer mains. They're there. I believe they're going to stay as is, but typically when there's a change of use that involves more water usage, wastewater usage, we ask the Rockland County Sewer Department to give us their comments in case they have any. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, they'll just charge us additional units. That's fine.
Okay, so just something from them that says this is, what the impact is and so forth.
John, not to interrupt you, it's Suzanne. When they submit for planning, that's when I send the plans out to all the agencies.
Okay, all right.
We'll have
So
them for the planning board
so comment 3 is premature at this point.
Okay,
We still can have the calculations on the plan for the anticipated water usage and wastewater disposal. So on comment 4, we're just noting that I think we need a legend because it's very difficult for me. And a lot of this is electronic view, but it's very hard to understand what is proposed and what is existing. So I think a legend would actually help clarify that.
No problem.
So comment 5, we're just asking for the highway department to give his input. Let's see, stormwater detention. Okay, that comment 6 is tied in with the previous comment that we're just asking for some infiltration testing to verify. Typically with these infiltrators, if you have a clay loam soil, all they do is just fill with water. So I don't think you need to go crazy, but just something to verify that there's actual infiltration capacity there is what we're looking for. So we have a comment regarding to show the sewer services, water and sewer services and sizes. And a comment, I don't know, there's some proposed storm drainage, but typically we like to see a 15-inch minimum pipe in lieu of 12-inch.
Yeah, it shows 12. We'll change it to 15.
Even though it's a lot of times, especially for small areas, 12 is probably hydraulically sufficient. What happens is you do get a lot more sticks and clogging from the 12 inches that you don't normally get with the 15 inch. So, okay, no problem. And then regarding the landscaping and lighting, I did, there's a significant landscaping plan. So it's a very generous plan, which is good. I think the board needs to take a look at that. I'm not really a landscape architect, so I don't know if they're okay with it. There's buffer landscaping and so forth, but I don't know if we have somebody else that can take a look at it to make sure they're okay with it, but it is a generous landscaping plan. And with regards to the lighting, I did see the lighting plan. And I do see that you're proposing some light fixtures, but I can't read the map. So I can't read it in electronic format and I can't read it in paper format. So I can't make out the numbers. I can't see what they
All right,
actually say.
Yeah, I can fix that.
So that's pretty much all my comments. We did ask under planning that we get a short form EAF, and I believe that was submitted. So I took a quick look at that, and pretty much it doesn't identify anything as significant from the DEC website. So I think we're okay there.
All
Are
right,
we
thank you.
going to GML on this?
I do not believe we're going to need one, but I have to go into the Rockland County system. I do not believe so, though.
Rustic is a village road, right?
Yeah,
No.
it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is.
I'm looking at the vicinity map. Frontier, Lorna, those are all village, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're probably more than 500, I'm ballparking it. You're more than 500 feet away from Cherry Lane.
I believe we are.
Yeah, I believe they are too.
Okay, well.
When they
Suzanne-
submit for planning, I do the
Yeah.
mapping.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the comments. They're very simple to address. If we'd like to get on the planning board agenda, if I can make the revisions and get on the planning board agenda, that would be good.
Well, Paul, the deadline for the July meeting is Thursday, June 16th. So I don't know that you're going to make July. I'm just pointing that out. You may or may not. Otherwise, it's July 21st for August 25th.
All right, I'll try and get it in by Thursday if that's okay.
Yeah, but that's a full submission, EAF, application, narrative, plans, architecturals, correct, Dan?
Yeah,
Everything,
Yeah,
site
I'll
plan,
discuss it. Yeah, I'll discuss it with the expediter and the rabbi.
Yes, I would.
application fee, fees,
Hi,
plural.
it's Rabbi Berger in the meeting, and I would just like to ask, which I was told from my architect, Mr. Fisher, and he told me that I'm just asking if it's the way he says or not, because he says that the architecturals are going to cost for this to have this done between 10 to 15,000 at least. He says that he's working only with the floor plans, which we have already, till after the approvals. And if it gets approved, then they're spending the money for architecturals. So he told me to ask the village if this is going to be okay. He could seal it. He could put everything which needs to be sealed, or if there's anything more which has to be added, he could add it. But to work on architecturals, as of right now, he feels that it's a waste of money until we get the approvals. If somebody could answer something about that, I would appreciate.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, part of the condition of getting planning board approval for the site plan is to get prior approval from the architectural board.
So what he says is
Wait,
that
That's the
what
outside, Dan, not the inside.
what he says is I showed him the floor plan, and he said that it's a beautiful plan, which you see all the setbacks, all the measurements, everything, which the board has to see how big the building is, the size of the building. You could add elevations if it's needed, but the exact way how he's going to put the beams, which is for the inspector to inspect, which this could be done. It tells me that this is what he's doing in all the municipalities. This could everything be done after when it gets approved, then they're working on that, and if the inspector approves it, then it's good. If he has his comments, then you could change something, but just to get it approved, to see the size, the setbacks, the face of the building, this for all of that. He tells me that he's building 10-story buildings in other municipalities, and this is the way it goes. So I'm just asking if this could work over here as well, or if it's needed to have the full architecturals.
Well, I don't know the ultimate answer to that, but I don't think that there's anything that prevents you from going to the planning board if CDRC thinks that the application is complete enough to go there. Then seeker would be handled by the planning board. The planning board would refer it to the zoning board. You'd appear before the zoning board seeking your variances. If you got your variances, you come back before the planning board. And at that point, I think we could figure out what you're proposing is acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't think we need to make a decision right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
But
You're
this will, Dan, not to interrupt you, this will need to go to Architectural Review Committee as well.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's when the elevations are needed too, before final approval from planning board. So
Mhm.
between zoning and the second planning board meeting, you will have to go to architectural, Rabbi.
Phone disconnected.
Mm.
Lou, did you have anything?
Lou,
No, the only thing I noted was that they actually need 6 variances, not 4.
can't hear you, Lou.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can
Can't
hear you.
hear anyone.
Dan, can you hear us now?
Hear me now?
Yeah, now and that's weird.
Okay.
All right, we need 6 variances, not 4. Because of the change of use, the 2 non-conforming should be added to the list of variances.
Wait,
I'm sorry, repeat that, Lou.
We need 6 variances, not 4,
Okay,
to go to the ZBA. The change of use, which we might as well add the other 2 that were pre-existing to the list of 4 that's added by the change of use.
Okay,
I got updated drawings with measurements on them, so I can actually do the calculations of square footage. So we could work on that. I don't feel real comfortable about advancing through both the planning board and the ZBA without having real drawings, but I mean,
well, would we need a basic floor plan?
I mean, we got a basic floor plan. I mean, we didn't have measurements until this revision, but
Well,
I'm just
Here's
checking the
my-
code
here's
now to see
my
what was
question.
required.
based on what you just pointed out,
Mhm.
how could Paul possibly have things prepared by the end of the day on Thursday to appear on the next planning board meeting?
I mean, the worst, if we don't have it, we'll prepare it for the July 21st.
Okay. Because from what I just heard, sounds like there- things that are going to take a bit longer than 2 days. I know you're good. I don't think it's,
Well, the architecturals are gonna take longer. If they want full architecturals, then the rabbi needs to know.
no, I'm talking about what Lou just said in terms of calculations and revising the plans to reflect 6 variances rather than the 4 variances, et cetera.
Yeah, but he's talking about the pre-existing variances, just indicate them as variances.
That's
So
all.
Yeah,
Okay.
So from the CDRC committee, what's the consensus that they submit for planning, correct? I'm asking.
If they get everything in, well, let me put it this way. If they get everything in for Thursday, then and it's reviewed and acceptable, then they could be on for the next planning board meeting. If they don't get it in on Thursday, or it's not acceptable, then they may have to wait until the next planning board meeting. But by all means, give it a shot.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Rabbi
you.
Mordecai, do you have any questions? Paul?
I'm just want to make sure again that before we hang up now that that it's clear enough that for the first planning board, which we're going to give in we don't need to have done all the architecturals. It's going to only need to be by the second after the ZBA.
The
Well,
thing
Dan,
with
doesn't
ZBA,
ZBA usually look at that? Doesn't you ZBA usually look at architecturals? I mean, when they're making their decisions?
I think this is which was just said before that that this what we have now. Maybe it could be a little bit more clear. That we should see exactly what's existing and what's proposed. I think that this is what was said before. I just want to make sure before we hang up that we shouldn't come after that and say that we do need the architecturals for the planning board.
Well, I mean, it should be simple to see everything that needs to be submitted for a ZBA application. It's got to be in the code. It's got a list. So let's just confirm.
Okay, so for the planning board, for the first planning board, which is going to be either on July, whatever, 23rd, or either August.
June
25th
23rd, July 21st, or August 25th?
or August 25th, either one of these ones. We don't have to have the full architecturals. I'm just making sure. I could have this one, what I have now, I could have it sealed. And if there's anything which need to be added, I'll talk to my architect to add it. So I would like to know if there's something, they should tell me now what, that I should be able to tell the architect to add it and seal it.
Lou, do you think there's anything in the architecturals that would potentially impact on the variances that would be required?
Not on the variances, no. I think they're for the planning board, they're gonna need area calculations of some of the rooms, which I could try and get them based on some of the measurements that I have.
Okay, I guess.
And I'm gonna have to verify the measurements of the actual addition and everything, compare it to the variance for the developmental coverage.
Okay, I guess we'll come into the village soon and we'll discuss whatever need to be done for the planning board.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm good for now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Take care, Rabbi.
All right, the next application is the application of V3 Real Estate LLC at 14 North Airmont Road for the drive-through for the existing Dunkin' Donuts, the amended site plan. This is their final CDRC before chairman's endorsement. I will say I've received everything that I could receive from them thus far. I'm just waiting for the cost estimate for landscaping and engineering to be approved so that they can send the check. And then the final signature on the easement, which then will need to be recorded. And the stormwater is in process of being recorded right now.
And if we could get corporate resolutions authorizing the signatories to the agreement from the owners, that would be nice too.
Dan, this is Dave. I got that comment from Susan this morning, forward over to the attorney, so that should not be a problem.
Perfect.
And Suzanne, I think Ken was a little late coming to the meeting, right? Didn't he have a conflict this morning?
He told me he had changed it
Okay,
because I was gonna put you last and then he told me not to. He changed court. So
Okay.
I don't know. I resent the link to him last night before I left, but I don't know. Do you want me to try calling him?
I can do that while we're getting, and I don't know there was a reason we can't get started, right?
No, we can start. I believe Eve and Valerie are on. I don't know if they had any comments or Lou.
Hi, Eve. Hi, Valerie.
Hi. Eve, you're muted.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
No, I didn't have any comments. I thought, do I owe you anything? Did we sign off on that estimate? And
No, just the estimate I need you to please sign off on.
okay,
And Valerie, if you could look at the landscaping, if you concur, you and Eve, and that's it.
Okay.
They just have to send a check.
all right. Did you email that to me?
Yes, I'll resend it again.
All right, now I can go search for it.
I think
Sorry
I
about
sent
that.
it twice or maybe 3 times. I'm not
All
sure.
right, I don't remember seeing it, but that would
No,
be.
it was one of the days I sent you about 5 or 6 things. So
Oh, okay, so we're in a whole big stack of
yes,
stuff.
there's
Okay,
a lot of things that day.
all right, I can take care of that when we're finished here. And the stormwater maintenance agreement, that Schedule A is done?
Yes, you approved that. I already got the
Okay.
check. It was signed by the mayor and
Okay,
and the
excellent.
owner, and Ken is getting it recorded. And he'll send me
Okay.
proof of recording. That was the only thing.
All right, so I guess the only question is really for you, Dan. How are we going to handle the agreement with the neighbor in terms of maintenance of the landscaping?
Susan, I'm sorry, I'm back. Ken's dialing in. He was having problems with the Zoom, so he's just gonna
Okay.
dial in with the phone.
Okay.
number. Okay, was there a question there that I need to answer?
Eve was asking.
No,
did
I was
you
just
have-
asking to, actually, it was for Dan. You do have the agreement with the neighbor for the off-site landscaping, but I didn't know if that was something that we also have to put in our maintenance agreement for any reason, or how would that be handled?
It's really a private agreement between the two affected property owners. Within the agreement, it is built in a maintenance requirement. But I don't think this is the equivalent of if they don't maintain it, that the village is going to go on to the property and go out to bid or whatever and maintain it and either bill the property owners or do a tax levy if they didn't pay it. I think it would be more of an enforcement mechanism for violating a requirement of the site plan. But it's really a private agreement.
Okay, if you're satisfied with that, my only concern was that years from now, maybe the neighbor decides they want to build a shed and they decide that's the perfect location for it. And as you said, the site plan approval relies upon that landscaped area as a buffer. That was part of their approval.
Right, but wouldn't they have to come back to the planning board to do that?
Not if it's not recorded, not necessarily.
No,
Years
no,
from now, we may not even, who knows who's going to be around years from now? It'll be just an ordinary side yard at that point,
No,
unless it's recorded somewhere.
no, I'm referring to if they, I think you mentioned if they wanted to build a shed.
Correct. So they go to the building department, they get a permit, they build a shed, but unfortunately, it may be right in the middle of what we determined was, the compensating buffer area. So to protect, Duncan from the neighbor inadvertently violating their site plan approval, how would that be protected going forward?
Can we just record the agreement?
It
Yeah,
is,
that's
being-
what I'm wondering.
it is
How
being,
would-
It's being recorded, yes.
Yeah,
So
so,
so if you do a title search on it, you'll find that's recorded. And then I know we do have a map note on the site plan. So the building department would be familiar with it if they pulled out the site plan. All right, so I guess that's enough protection.
yeah, but you do trigger another point. These exhibits have to be attached. The description of the grantor property, the grantee property, site plan, access easement area, like meets and bounds.
Right. So I'm saying for the near future, all the parties are the same and we all understand what was done, but going, 10 years in the future.
Well, it does apply to successors and or assigns though.
Correct, if they're aware of it.
Well,
Okay.
that's why recording it.
Recording it with the map would suffice then.
Yes. That's why I'm mentioning also about the exhibits. They would be filed with the agreement.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds like it's all we can do to alert everyone in the future.
All right, so once we get proof of the recording of that, Dave, and then I get the sign off on the cost estimate and the check, then I'll have them sign off on the internal consulting form and then have the chairman come sign. And you and I will have to work out who's going to sign. I guess Chris Fasty's signing as owner.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
Chris-
I'll
Chris
call
has
him to
everything.
come sign the plans after the chairman.
Right, correct. Yep.
I think Ken's just coming in now. Anything else, Lou? You have anything? Valerie, anything else? No?
no, I
Okay, I
think we're good.
think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go look for that estimate. and
Okay.
send
If you
it on
can't
over.
find it, I'll resend it after the meeting.
No, I'm sure, I'll
Okay.
just search your name and I'll find it.
Okay, thank you. All right, have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank everybody.
guys.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you,
Bye,
Susan. Yep, bye now.
All right. The next application is the Furniture Village at 210 Route 59, the conversion of a diner to a furniture store for this, with the site plan and proposed signage. And I think for this application, we have Paul Gdansky on as the engineer. I'm not sure, oh, Fast Forward is on, and I'm not sure who else. Fast Forward is the expediter. I'm not sure if it's Mindy or Yasi that's on. Hi, Mindy.
Hi. Hi.
They did foil the diner's site plan, which I'm waiting for Nicole's to email me, and I will email to everyone once received. When you go for an amended site plan, it's in our code that you have to show the prior approved site plan for comparison. So I will send that to everyone once I receive it.
Basically, the last time we were before you we discussed wanting topo, existing landscaping. So we had done that and provided all of that. And there is no plans for any changes to the site. It's just within the building and the sign. That's it.
So Dan, they would have to submit an application for a sign plan if they're outside the village code for sign, correct?
What do you mean if they're
If
outside?
if they're doing anything that's not within the code. Correct, Lou? Okay.
So that gets submitted to
Changing the
planning board.
configuration of the sign that's outside the village code, then they have to do the sign
I
plan.
cannot grant a permit for either of these signs. They're both outside the code.
Right,
Does the
so we
change
have
of-
to bring it to planning board, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Does
Okay.
the change in use, Lou, potentially impact parking calculations or anything that might trigger a requirement for a variance?
We did the parking calculations and it's okay.
Okay. Although I was asking Lou.
I threw my voice. I sounded like Paul, didn't I?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
The only thing that the only thing that I was wondering about was the loading dock. The calculations were originally set up as a diner, which required far more parking than they would need than a furniture store. But the loading dock issue, I don't know how they're going to load or unload anything at this facility.
Well,
Right, so-
there really isn't any, the material is gonna be in a warehouse somewhere. Nothing's gonna be stored here. It's just basically a showroom.
Okay, and the things are gonna get up into the showroom how?
There's a ramp in the front of the building. I spoke to the guy who's going to be setting it up. He said that he could fit in most of the boxes through that door, so it shouldn't be a problem.
It's not a ramp, it's a set of stairs in the front of the building, isn't it?
I believe it's,
There's a handicap ramp too.
yeah.
But could that block off access?
It would only be after hours. I mean, they would only be loading it up after hours or whatever, not during store hours.
All right, does anyone know, I mean, diners have grills, they have storage tanks sometimes,
Refrigerators.
or oil from the grills. Do we know if anything like that exists right now that would have to be removed?
They got
the
a permit
idea
to
is that
remove the inside of the kitchen already.
Yeah, and then the whole inside will be gutted anyway to make, make it nicer for the furniture store and the offices.
Right, but like, there's no outside
Are you referring to a grease
area
trap?
where
No,
oil,
he's talking about a fat storage tank for waste
Right.
oil.
right?
Paul, did you see anything?
No, but usually those are done with like garbage dumpsters that are enclosed.
Mhm.
They dump the oil into them. If those were still there, they'd be removed. They're outside and movable, so the company would have taken them.
So you think it already would have been done?
Yeah, usually the company that provides provides that service removes the if they're not being paid, why would they keep their dumpster for oil there? And I don't recall seeing it there. I'd have to go back and look again.
Is this diner closed completely?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I remember something with that culvert. I just don't remember what it was. They
resubmitted the plans and included the culvert. You don't have the hard copy, Dan, but I sent it electronically because I hadn't seen you to give it to you. But they did, and which is why I also brought up the prior amended site plan, which will have that. And I guess John and Lou can compare that to what they've submitted as well.
Addosso, magari ci cinge, se addosso
I
è
don't know who's talking.
So
Okay.
Plan, the revised plan, I did see the culvert shown there, but I don't think there's any proposal to do anything with that culvert, if I'm not mistaken.
No, no improvements, no increase in impervious area, no changes to the parking lot are proposed. All the changes are within the building, on the facade, nothing outside.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember if that culvert even works.
Oh, yeah, it works. I've seen it flood during the rain. I've also seen the basement of that building fill with water.
But is that your definition of working? Isn't that the opposite?
Water goes through it. It runs on a normal basis. Only during heavy floods, sometimes they get water in the basement.
Okay, but isn't that something that would behoove the owner to look into resolving?
Well, the
Okay.
architect can design something inside the building to prevent, if they have to pump out put drains inside the basement to keep it dry, he can do that with a pump.
well, we've been discussing it. They're most likely going to put in a pump.
What's the size of that culvert, if you don't mind me asking?
It's big.
Yeah, it is.
The box culvert?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a box
Yep.
culvert that goes underneath Airmont Road.
Okay.
The basement in that building is also non-habitable. There's only one exit and no egress windows.
The architect says there's a second exit. I think it might have been shown on the plans.
You got stairs into the kitchen and you got stairs going out the back.
One on the west side and on no, wait, sorry, that's not on elevations. It's in the basement plan. Alright, so one. Mm-mm. Yeah. So one of them goes outside or upstairs?
Outside from the outside.
It goes upstairs first?
Yes. One goes upstairs, one goes out the back.
In the basement.
Mhm.
What are the plans to use the basement for?
It's going to be office space.
What are you doing for light?
What do you mean?
Natural light. How much required natural light are you required to have in there?
So the architect has not exactly worked out the plans yet because it's just conceptual, but definitely that's going to be worked on, for planning board.
Well, the parking requirements don't really reflect office space because that use is much more intense than a warehouse or a display for furniture. So I think you need to look into that. I mean, it looks as though there's enough parking there, but then I understand there's going to be offices downstairs. So are those offices strictly for employees associated with this furniture display, or is this going to be for offices associated with businesses other than the furniture display?
It'll be businesses other than the furniture display. Paul Gdansky has actually put in a parking calculation on the site plan for the office space as well. It's one parking space for every 200 square feet, which would mean 23 parking spaces required. We're proposing 77 parking spaces, so.
Okay, so this is a mixed use. There's a proposed furniture display and a separate entity for office
building.
space.
Correct.
Yeah, both calculations are on there. We also included the furniture too.
Is the basement sprinklered?
I don't think so, but we are going to be putting in sprinklers throughout the entire building upstairs as well, obviously. Yeah.
It is sprinklered?
I don't know if it's sprinklered now, but we're definitely.
You're planning on doing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're definitely going to have sprinklers.
Lou, are there any specific conditions related to having offices in a basement?
Yeah, there's a requirement for natural light and ventilation.
Right. Which the architect is going to have to work out.
I don't know how he's gonna work it out since the entire basement is entirely below grade.
And subject to flooding potentially.
Yeah,
Again, this is just a concept. It was an idea that the client had. If it doesn't work out in the end, we're not going to end up doing it. It's just something the client wants to do. If it doesn't work according to the code, it's not happening.
Well, it sounds like it's more than just the code. Sounds like there are pre-existing conditions that
You're referring to the flooding.
there's logistical problems there, that's for sure.
We'll review it with the architect, and if it can't work, then he'll take the offices out.
Exactly.
okay.
It's just an idea that the client wants. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, you know? I think other than that, what would be our next step here? I mean, the entire, I mean,
We're not even 100% sure exactly what you're proposing, so I think you're gonna need to come back to CDRC. So, and while I kind of have the floor, we do need a long form EAF. This is, I'm beginning to realize now there's not really much in terms of civil engineering site plan changes, but there's certainly a fairly significant use change. So I do recommend that we get a long form EAF, and this also does refer to county referral under GML 239.
Yes, planning, yes.
And when we do get to a point where we're 100% sure what we're doing, we do need input from DOT and county DPW, because you are on both the county and state highway.
right, would that be done before planning or once we submit planning?
I usually send it out when it goes to planning unless you have something prepared before then, but that's usually the protocol.
Right, no, I
Send it
mean,
out for GML, I mean,
we're okay if it goes out with GML.
excuse me?
We're okay if it goes out for GML unless.
It has to.
Right, no, I mean,
It
when it
has
goes to the DOT with GML, I mean.
That's usually when we do everything and get the
Right.
comments for planning.
I
Right.
think you're gonna need to have the specified use before it goes for a GML, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have
we're
to have
gonna-
a set of everything, all the interior, right, Lou?
Right.
For them to comment. The park, everything.
Okay.
I thought there was a letter from Tallman. I don't know why I don't have it in the file. Did we get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually the reason we are definitely going to be putting in sprinklers. The plan's supposed to be revised to show supposed to be a sprinkler control room. I mean, I guess we'll submit that with our next set of plans. I guess.
Okay, so that'll be on the next set?
Yeah, we're gonna come back to CDRC, I guess. I guess we're gonna have to do, I guess, full architecturals for the basement. So we'll have it in there.
Okay. So the next CDRC. Wait, that's planning board. June 23rd is the deadline for July 12th, or July 21st is the deadline for August 9th. And right now, I haven't heard anything about remote meetings being extended. So they would be in person unless they always wait till the last minute. So today or tomorrow, we might find out. I'm praying that we
Hope and
find
pray.
it. I think we all are. But yes, I just wanted to preface that.
All right.
We lost Lou and Dan, so I don't know what else.
But we got to come back anyway once we talk to the architect and figure it out.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, you're right, Paul.
Yeah. John, do you have any other comments?
There are some other comments. I don't know if Suzanne gave you a copy of our comments, but
Yeah,
I think
I have them.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of them have to do with, like, for example, I assume the lighting is existing.
Yes, that's
It's
correct.
not proposed, now that I'm pretty clear that this is just, you're not really looking to change the site too much, but so much of the map doesn't really tell me what's there and what's proposed. I think we need to make that clear, and that will address some of my comments. And then I had comments regarding truck turning radius and so forth, and docking area consistent with the building inspector, but I'm understanding now that this is showroom only, there's no warehouse storage.
Right.
So probably would be a good idea to note on the plans that this is not for warehouse storage, this is for display only.
We'll do
And I think that would address that. And so if you just take a look at the few more comments in there, and you can, when you resubmit, just address them if you could. Please.
No problem.
Okay.
And I guess that's it. Dan, do you have any comments?
Dan, anything else?
No,
All right, then. So I guess this one we will come back with.
Okay,
very good.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, the next application, Linda, you're staying on, obviously, is for Eisenberger, 53 North Lorna Lane. It's for a wetland permit to build a house within a wetland buffer, and a plot plan was submitted. Someone has a big dog.
The drop.
Just excuse me for 1 second. I'm just putting myself on mute for a minute.
So I guess we're going to introduce the project meanwhile. It's basically a single family house. The entire property pretty much is within a wetland buffer.
What type of wetland?
I believe it's under the Army Corps. It's a stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the entire thing is within the 100-foot buffer. So we are proposing to move the house. Existing house is a bit small for the client's needs, so we would like to move it up a bit. Build a new house. We're proposing to demolish existing, construct the new one. It's going to be right outside the wetland, but within the 100-foot buffer, as either way would be within the 100-foot buffer. Existing is also within the 100-foot buffer, just, so we're clear on that.
Wait, say that again?
The existing house is also within the 100-foot buffer.
Okay, thank you.
We're not changing that. We're staying within the 100-foot buffer either way. We are definitely staying out of the wetland, and therefore we do not need an Army Corps permit for this.
Lou will be back in a second.
Oh, while we're waiting for Lou, maybe I can quickly go through
Sure.
our comments.
Mhm.
Save time. So comment one under planning is that the new dwelling is proposed. Now, the other dwelling, the existing dwelling, the two-story, the one that's also crosshatched, that's to be removed, correct?
Correct.
So that will be gone in the new house, okay. So I guess comment one is just questioning why, not pull the proposed house, even give you itself 10 or 20 feet from the wetland, as opposed to the corners of the house like being almost right on the wetland. So I'm not quite sure why.
The idea is he wants to live in the house while it's under construction.
Okay. All right, so that necessitates having to pull the proposed dwelling back further. Is that my
And
understanding?
either way, it would give them more space around the property. Right now, it's very much to the side. He wants to be able to have more, property, especially since he doesn't really have a backyard, as it's a stream. So he wants to be
Okay.
able to have more side and front.
All right. I just wanted an explanation because, you know, there is room to kind of minimize that. So if there's a reason for it, then that's different. So we are asking for a letter from the environmental consultant indicating the date of the delineation and the accuracy of the delineation.
Right. I forwarded him the
so-
comments. He said he's going to write up a letter and send it.
Okay. So I'm just noting that it is a single family home, which is permitted in the R35, and that it looks as though a side yard setback will be improved. And apparently does not show in the zoning table. Take a look at that, because you're actually going to be increasing your side yard setback, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so to take a look at that. Now this is a 3-story structure, so I don't know what maximum building height is. It's 35 feet, I think.
Yes.
So
It's going to be under 35.
So I guess, you know, if and when you get to the planning board, they're gonna probably want an architectural rendering of the plan. That's gonna be a requirement.
All right.
We're also gonna need a set of sprinkler drawings.
Right, for a 3-story, right. Yeah, so we'll have, the sprinklers don't have to be provided for planning, right? Just for the building permits, right?
It has to be provided by the permit, but you know, we need to know that it's gonna be installed.
Right, no, so there'll be a note on the plans.
So you gotta leave room for a pump room and if they need a tank room or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No problem. We'll put them in the plans.
So the 100-year flood elevation needs to be shown on the plan, and of course, the home has to be 2 feet above this elevation. So I'm just asking you to check that just to make sure, because I know that is a flood zone.
I'll check.
So please check that for us. And comments 2 and 3 on engineering pertain to, there are existing utilities. I'm not quite sure why you're not just extending them to the new house as opposed to completely reinstalling your water and sewer facilities. At least that's the way it looks on the plans. So it would seem it would be just as simple to just use the existing utilities and just do an extension to the new dwelling, correct?
Barry, I believe, Barry is the owner of this property. You want to speak?
Say that again.
Not sure he's on. Paul, do you want to answer that one?
I couldn't hear what he said. Oh, about the utility. Yeah, we can look at it. We can look at utilizing the existing services.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
not-
it's any chance to not have to dig up the road and, you know, access water and sewer when you already have it, it would be much simpler, especially since it's just going from a single family home to a single family home. So it's not like there's even really a change of use.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's not a problem.
So, I think that's about all we have. I think we're asking to, our infiltration test. So, just to make sure that the water will get into the ground. So that's typically required for infiltration, design.
Yeah, we do that.
So it's not really a big deal, just a pipe, 4-inch, 6-inch down to the depth that you're gonna be at, and you're just gonna measure drop in 1 hour interval, correct?
Yeah.
3 times, I think. So I'm just wanna make sure there's some sort of infiltrative capacity so that it just doesn't sit with water in it.
No problem.
That's it.
All right. So I think that's pretty straightforward. Any other comments?
Lou, did you have anything else?
Now,
Dan?
No,
All right. So is this one able to go into planning?
And John, they would still.
I don't
need
know,
to fill out
John,
wetland
on your
permit, right?
comments.
I mean, I have comments, that they don't require variances. Is that true?
Correct.
So, I mean, there are technical comments to address, but they're kind of relatively minor. I don't think they're anything major. So, and they don't need variances. So I have no problem going to planning board.
Okay, even without showing the house being removed and the existing house?
Well, the existing house, if I'm not mistaken, will be removed once the new house is constructed.
That's
So-
correct. Utilize the
I have a
existing
question. How are we gonna construct a house when it looks like both walls are on the same foundation line?
Believe they're going to be built. Paul, do you wanna help me out with this? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken,
Paul, good luck on that one.
The architect should be answering it, but I think the idea was that he's gonna build another foundation next to it and the walls are gonna be next to each other.
yeah, something like that.
Get
And
a
how
lot
is he
of
gonna do the
insurance.
waterproofing and the drains?
What's that?
How is he gonna do the waterproofing and drains if he's gotta take the original house out to do it?
That's gonna be difficult.
It's gonna be impossible.
It's really a question for the architect,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
the architect will have to address that.
I think somebody needs to rethink this idea.
We will, I mean, again, we're gonna have to bring in architecturals for this. I hope we'll have those addressed for you, Lou.
Well, the construction, the room that you're gonna need to construct it, and you're gonna need a few feet at least. So these drawings may not be applicable because you can't push the house any further over into the wetlands.
Well, the worst case scenario, he'll knock down the house before he does that.
Yeah, and then just relocate.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't think we'd be relocating. He wanted it specifically in this position, to be able to have more front and side yard.
Sure,
As-
but he could wiggle a couple feet over to get himself further away from the wetlands.
It probably wouldn't be more than like 5-6 feet. I mean, he really wanted this location.
We can get a letter from the architect on how he's gonna handle it being so close to up against the other house, the other house.
Who's the architect?
This is Hanfling.
Sorry, who?
Hanfling? So what do we say? We go to planning, or do we need to come back?
John, it's Suzanne. Just a quick question. They still, how we've done with some of the other applications, because they need a wetland permit. They fill out the application for the wetland and you determine the area of disturbance for the wetland permit fee, correct?
Yes, this is for the buffer, because there's no wetland disturbance for the buffer.
For the buffer. Okay.
Personally, I don't feel comfortable moving to planning until we figure out how the Siamese house is gonna work.
Well, if we can get it to you, an answer to you by Thursday, we'd be okay, right?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of valid answer you're gonna have on that one, but we could try.
I'll have the architect prepare something. I mean, I hope it'll alleviate your concerns, but if not, then I guess we're up to you.
And just make sure that all of the conditions of chapter 206-7A 1 through 7 are met.
Just write that one down.
206-7A 1 through 7.
Got it.
No problem.
So they're proceeding to planning. I don't know where we are. That's what my question is for Lou and John.
I said I'm not comfortable with it, but it's up to John.
Well, if Lou needs more to be comfortable, then he'll come back to CDRC.
Right.
It's a little gray area I do a lot of boards and towns, and this is the only one that has the CDRC requirement before planning board. So I guess I'm still not 100% of exactly what level of detail is required to say yes to planning board or no, come back. So until I have that level of comfort, I think that, you know, if we're not all in agreement that this should go, that they should come back to CDRC.
I think there's still too many questions that the board is going to want to have answers to that we don't have answers to.
Okay.
All right, then the CDRC submission date is June 23rd for July 12th. And again, I don't know if that's in person or Zoom yet, but more than likely in person.
All right, no problem.
All right. I guess that's it. All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Dan, Lou, and John, do you needed to go over anything?
The only thing I wanted to bring up was that letter regarding the Ramco Country Camp issue with regards to a violation on a potential culvert replacement. So I don't know if does this have any effect on
I'm
planning?
gonna stop the CDRC recording. Can you give me a second? Hold on.